Well, today I'm going to mention something about the Great Recession. This is Rick Jarman, Real Estate Investing Old School. The Great Recession's anniversary is next month. It'll be 10 years since we had the Great Recession. And you know, it's kind of like I know as a boy, me hearing about the Great Depression, I used to hear all them stories and didn't think much about it. But you know, once I lived through the Great Recession, and I know you're going to say, well, I don't want to hear what some old fart's got to say about the Great Recession, but I want to tell you, if you're in the real estate rental business, you need to buy your property right, and you need to buy property that will hold up if there's ever a downturn again, and there will be sooner or later. I mean, hopefully it's a long time because we're all doing good right now. I'm not a doom and gloom. I'm a positive person. But I counted, I went online, looked last night, and I can't remember now if it was 5 or 7 recessions since 1973 when I came out of high school. Well, the Great Recession was the longest that we've had since then by a couple of months, but it lasted for a year and 7 months, I think it was. But the repercussions of it were felt long after it was over with. You know, I'm thankful I had rental property that got me through it, but as far as being a builder and whatever, you couldn't borrow money to build. You couldn't, you know, if you had rental property that you had paid for, you couldn't cash money out. But one good thing about it, now I know there's always exceptions throughout the country, but one good thing about it, the banks didn't call and say, hey, I want you to turn your keys in on your rental property. The banks didn't want your property. You know, you just, and if you're like we were, our type of rental property, we wasn't really hurt. You know, and if you're in the high dollar rentals and people's jobs take a turn down, they got to change their lifestyle. But if you stay with a good working man or upper middle class or, you know, upper lower class rentals, you're not going to be hurt. You know, more than likely, you know, it's nothing for sure. And I know different parts of the country, everything's different. But here, and most folks I knew, we were not affected by it as far as our rental property. And like I said, the banks, they just, you know, they would need money, but they didn't mess with the rental property. The banks were hurting. So with all that being said, don't be afraid to go and get commercial loans on your rental property. Go, you know, go to the banks that have commercial loan departments and get your financing. I mean, if you're going to grow, you've got to move on into the commercial loan departments of banks and mortgage companies and mortgage brokers. It takes that to grow. 10 years ago, I had one loan that had 55 houses on it. Thank goodness it's, you know, basically paid off now, but it, you know, but that was just one loan. And if you're going to grow, you got to be willing to do that. And, you know, like I've always said, it's all about the financing. That's what you got to stay on top of. Everything else comes and goes. I know when I bought my first rental house in 1981, I think it was, interest rates were for, you know, for a house that a person's living in were up around 18%. You can go online and look all this stuff up. The rates, they said the best home loans in the history was in 2012. They were like 3.38 maybe. Now I know there were some examples of lower because I had a 2.8 on my house at that time through a credit union. But just the average of what they're looking at, the highest, you know, got on up, I don't know, probably 20% in the Carter days. But anyway, since my career, and I come out of high school, I come out in 1973, we had a gas embargo, and that was a recession. I think it lasted, I don't remember, you know, it didn't really affect me. I didn't know what a recession was, other than I was working a job and whatever. But I think, I know there's been several since then that did affect me some in my business. But the rental property is kind of insulated from a lot of that if you buy the right kind of rentals. Now, if you're in high dollar rentals and you've got a big complex and the market turns, you might be hurting. But like I said, even in the worst times during the recession, the banks did not want the rental houses. They had all they wanted. So you can't be worried about the banks wanting your property. You just pay the bills, buy them right. It's kind of like Donald Trump said in one of his books, I think it was called The Art of the Comeback. He said, if you owe the bank a little money, you worry about it. You owe the bank a lot of money, they'll worry about it. And he ought to know. And by the way, his first two books, Art of the Deal, Art of the Comeback, those are really good books. I'd actually read 14 books on him before he was president. Some was good, some was bad, but those first couple books were really good, really informative. And I think they would help you, but you need to look back at the history of the mortgage rates and the interest rates on commercial money, and you'll realize how good this market is. So take advantage of it. Don't let it pass by. And but if you have to get a rates a little higher, paying % more than you wanted to, don't not buy that piece of property, because we're experiencing great rates. So anyway, that was just something I wanted to share with y'all, because it's if you live through it, you remember it. Anyway, Rick Jarman, Real Estate Investing, Old School. Have a good day.